Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here to do my comic reviews for the week of October 26th, 2011. Alright, first of all, Marvel. FF number 11. Basically what happens is Ronan the Accuser and the Kree and some Kree soldiers have broken into the Inhuman home city Adelan, and they've retaken the two alternate Reeds that were thought to be killed, but apparently they were just captured by the Inhumans. And then Ronan is able to resurrect the Kree Supreme Intelligence by using the two, by sort of, I guess, sacrificing the two Reeds to the superior seed, which was a portion of the intelligence that was stored in Ronan's hammer. And the Cult of the Negative Zone is now planning on using several transmitters in the city to amplify the portal in the Baxter building to make it wider, to bring Annihilus back from the Negative Zone. And back at the Baxter building, Reed has gathered pretty much all of the Avengers to help with the problem in hand, and so they've all agreed that that they're going to go invade Adelan. And right when they prepare to leave, the Kree attack Earth. Ask me, this issue was nothing but filler. That's how a lot of these FF issues have been feeling lately, okay? They've all just felt like filler, that it's just killing time until we get to next month, which will be the 600th issue of the Fantastic Four. All I can say is, if the 600th issue of Fantastic Four does not blow me away, make me very happy, then I will probably be dropping it. However, though, I know that after Fantastic Four comes back, they're going to still continue FF. Although chances are I might just switch to Fantastic Four and stop buying FF, because that might just focus on the kids in the Future Foundation. Okay, moving right along. Avengers Academy, number 20. Still has a Fear Itself banner on it, because this is sort of dealing with the aftermath of the whole Fear Itself event. Again, did not read Fear Itself. Yes, I do know Thor dies, boo-hoo. He's going to be back in like 6 months, alright? He's going to be in the Avengers movie, and they're already planning on making a sequel to Thor. So, there. Alright, so Vale has officially quit the Avengers Academy, and she's decided to take a job with that jerk Jeremy Briggs, who we saw in, well, I'm not going to say jerk, more psychopath is more like it. Jeremy Briggs, who was a reject from the Academy, we saw him in issue 14.1. So Vale's out, and so are Speedball and Justice. They've quit the faculty. They pretty much decided to go travel America and just help people wherever they can. And Giant Man and Tigra have now decided to reopen the Avengers Academy at the former HQ of the West Coast Avengers, and they've also widened their admission to all young superhumans who just want to learn a few things. Now then, I really did like this aftermath, though. It's a quick little setup. Pretty much says that who's staying, who's leaving, and also what they're going to be doing. It's a very good transitional issue from the format when this first started into what we're going to be into the new direction that the Avengers Academy series is headed to with the next issue, which will be taking place on the West Coast. They're not going to be in an interdimensional mansion anymore. They're going to be back in the real world and just learn a few things from what some heroes have to say. Okay, now it's time for number 1. And if you think I'm talking about DC, forget it. I'm talking about a Marvel number 1. The Incredible Hulk, number 1. I got this, the whole reason, I've never really read a Hulk comic before, and I know who the Hulk is. I know about his history and stuff. I've just never actually read anything Hulk-centered. But this was alright. I mean, basically what happens in this issue is that After Fear itself, Hulk and Bruce Banner were mysteriously separated. They were having some sort of conversation in their mind, and Hulk just pretty much told Banner to go away, and suddenly, back in reality, they were split into two separate beings. So basically, this takes place after that, and Hulk is now has been living in the crust of the earth in a moloid village. Moloids are basically like mold people who appear to who've appeared numerous times in FF. Basically, Hulk's been living in their village, and he's been acting sort of as a protector and a hero to them, and it seems like he's found peace. But then some agents from the U.S. government show up, and they ask Hulk for his help, basically. And Hulk's kind of refusing them, but they tell him that the main problem that they want his help for is Dr. Banner. And it cuts to some sort of island where Bruce Banner has been experimenting on the animals of the island, and he's with gamma radiation, and he's created two sort of boar-like foot soldiers that are sort of gathering animals for him to do his experiments on. And then Banner keeps saying that all his experiments are a failure and they're not like him. And by him, he means the Hulk. So, all right. The basic premise of this is the way the story is that now that the Hulk and Bruce Banner have separated, Banner's gone and has become a mad scientist now, and Hulk is, well, the Hulk. We still don't know. This issue does not give any indication at all to the real reason why they separated. Okay, we're not. As far as this being jump-on friendly, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't, because on one hand, it is a nice place to start, but on the other hand, it doesn't give you the reason how it happened, which is just a little weird. I mean, there's practically no real explanation at all, but I mean, if you like the Hulk, then Green Hulk, then yeah, Red Hulk starring in the regular series titled Hulk, but if you like Green Hulk, then in Bruce Banner, then I would definitely pick up The Incredible Hulk. Just, Hulk fans might like it. And I'm going to give it to the first story. And usually whenever I pick up a new comic, I give it to the first story arc to ultimately decide whether or not I'm going to keep the series. And, well, I think the case is going to stick with The Incredible Hulk. Right. Now, here's number one that has another Marvel number one that's gotten a lot of positive reviews. Wolverine and the X-Men. Alright, this takes place after Schism, and Wolverine has reopened the school in Westchester. Except it's no longer called the Xavier Institute, it's called the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning. And what happens is Wolverine, Logan, and Kitty Pryde, who are now the headmasters of the school, are meeting with inspectors from the Department of Education so that they can get their school accredited. And I have to say, though, this is a nice introduction because you're getting a tour of the school. You're seeing Kitty and Logan sort of give a tour of the school. You're seeing the different types of students that are going to be in the school, that are enrolled. And also you do get to see this school is a lot different from the one pre-Utopia because it's incorporated a lot of Shi'ar technology. And apparently every single room in the school can be turned into a danger room. That's a little insane, but whatever gets the job done. And Schism is referenced in this because the kid who's become the new Black King of the new Hellfire Club shows up to the front gates of the school, and he asks to speak to Logan. Logan comes out and he threatens Logan, saying that he helped push the schism between the X-Men. He built the new Sentinels, and now he's making a ton of money. And he also wants to he'll pretty much try to destroy everything Logan builds. And right after the kid leaves and the inspectors get ready to leave, the ground underneath the school comes to life. It basically comes to life and attacks the school. And earlier there were references in the story where people were talking, saying that they felt earthquakes and lava coming from under their beds. So that's what happens. Wolverine and the X-Men. It's a great intro issue. Is it jump on friendly? Maybe. I mean, if you have some idea about what happened in Schism, then you would understand what's going on. But if you don't, then I would say try to either go back and read Schism or wait for the hardcover issue to come out in January before checking this out. But yeah, this was a lot more jump-on friendlier than Incredible Hulk. I would say pick it up. It's a lot of familiar X-Men are featured in this book. There's Wolverine, Beast, Kitty Pryde, Iceman. Though Wolverine and Kitty are more of the central characters in this, it's still an interesting lineup. It does feature a lot of recognizable X-Men. Rogue and Gambit are also featured in the school. So, yeah. I would definitely say Wolverine and the X-Men, number one, is definitely something you should consider picking up. Alright, now for my last Marvel. Amazing Spider-Man 672, the conclusion to Spider Island. Now then, the Spider Queen, because all the infected citizens of New York are now giant spiders, and Spider Queen's powers are amplified, she's now turned into a giant spider humanoid. And back at Horizon, MJ shows up to get a cure for some people, and Reed Richards notices that she hasn't entered into the stage 3, which is the giant spider phase of the infection, and he sort of comes up with the theory that the reason the virus was slowed down in MJ is because of all the years she's been with Peter Parker. And when Horizon hears noise from Lab 6, which was where Peter fought Tarantula and turned back into Kane, they go and check it out. So Peter gives his spider costume to Kane, and of course Peter's standing there in his underwear. And after that, though, Kane and Peter sneak away to Peter's, are able to, give a logical explanation about why they're there, and then they go to Peter's lab, and Peter takes back his original costume, and Kane wears the Sonic spider suit. Although, to be fair, though, it didn't happen in that order. Kane actually heard Peter say it, and he just called dibs. Look at that, they're already becoming like brothers already. And so then Steve Rogers orders every single hero available to help out and help fight the Spider Queen. And so the Spider Brothers go there and meet with the Avengers and the X-Men. They try to fight the Queen, and MJ shows up too to help. And then Peter gets the idea that he could help decrease the Queen's power by curing her subjects. So Peter heads back to the police station where he was working on all his villains' old tech, and he basically is able to control all the mini Octobots that Doc Ock had used in Spider-Man 600. Excuse me. And now Peter's able to use the mini Octobots to take samples of the cure and cure all the citizens in New York City. And that weakens the Queen, which allows Miss Marvel to throw Kane, who apparently has spider stingers. If you've read Spider-Man the Other, then you know what I'm talking about. But basically, they're like these little spikes that come out from under his wrists, and and Kane is thrown right through the Queen, and that basically kills her. So, final scene though is Peter and MJ just sort of looking out at the city, happy that they saved the day. Spider Island. The conclusion was great, and the story Spider Island itself is really amazing. It was a fun story. I really loved it, and I really hope Dan Slott can still make good stories like this. I mean, ever since he took over Amazing Spider-Man, I've loved the issues, and I really hope that. And this was just, I don't know, really feels like the best, and I love it. I might get the collection when they print it out in paperback, but we'll see. Final thoughts on Spider Island. Well, anything else? Well, there is this one scene where Peter is controlling the Octobots and distributing the cure, and he's just really happy because he's finally saving everybody. That's something that Peter was concerned with ever since the death of Marla Jameson, is that he's wanted to save everyone, and now he had the moment where he actually did. So that makes him very happy. And of course, when MJ sees this, she quietly says to herself, "I love you." And Peter's like, "Wait, what? Wait, what did you just say?" And she just brushes off, saying she didn't say anything. So, good news to all you Spider-Man fans who hope that Peter and MJ will get back together, because, well, that seems like that feels like it could happen soon. Damn. Look at the camera, sorry about that. Alright. Now, enough for Marvel, time for DC. Green Lantern, New Guardians #2. Alright, St. Walker, the Blue Lantern here, shows up because he was tracking the blue ring that was looking for Kyle Rayner. Anyway, St. Walker shows up to find the missing blue ring. Kyle says that he and St. Walker, who's a Blue Lantern, he supercharges green rings. They're able to get out of there and make an escape. So Kyle and Walker both agree that they should go talk to Ganthet because he might know what's going on. And they both have a little moment here where Kyle and Walker kind of bond over how Ganthet was the one who gave them their rings instead of the rings choosing them. And of course, when Kyle and Walker arrive at Oa, Kyle heads to the Guardians' main chambers to figure out where Ganthet is. And when he gets there, Ganthet shows no emotion at all. Apparently, the Guardians of the Universe have decided to remove Ganthet's emotions. They basically lobotomized him, which makes Kyle and dozens of fans angry. And of course, right when Kyle's feeling a little angry, the Guardians start asking him how he got the rings. And Kyle's just like, "What'd you do to Ganthet?" And then they say, Guardians get ready to attack Kyle for forceful interrogation about why he has different colored rings. Then all of a sudden, the rings attach themselves to Kyle's fingers, and he transforms into a White Lantern, so to speak. Well, not really a White Lantern, it's just that it's just given him a new costume that's like armor, and it's white and black, and has all the core symbols displayed on it. Alright, Green Lantern New Guardians #2. I like this issue way better than the first issue. There's a lot more plot in this. Now I'm really interested in the story because, especially since the Guardians of the Universe have removed Ganthet's emotions. You can't do that! Right? First they reject Hal Jordan. That was stupid. Now they lobotomize Ganthet. I seriously hope that Kyle is able to get these guys together and kick the Guardians' asses. Seriously, if New Guardians is about these guys replacing the Guardians of the Universe, I wouldn't care. Because right now they're failing at their job. But, okay. New Guardians #2. I really am more excited for this story now, and I hope that the next few issues are just as good as this. Okay. Next up, The Flash, #2. Flash tries to save his friend Manuel, but the attackers, who are apparently Manuel's clones, say they have Iris West, and if Flash attacks them, then they're going to kill her or something. So Flash doesn't do anything, lets the clones escape. Then they tell him where Iris is. He saves her. And then it's revealed that Manuel was involved in some sort of military experiment with clones and a healing factor. And as mentioned by Barry's girlfriend Patty, when she says that immediately after they took the body to the morgue, the clone's wounds healed itself. And once the clones have Manuel, they hook him up to some machine. They pretty much hook him up to some machine. But back to the Flash for a moment. Barry discovers, thanks to the scientist Dr. Ellis he spoke with last issue, that apparently the Flash while the Flash's body can access all the Speed Force energy to allow him to run fast, his mind has only accessed only a partial amount of that energy. So basically, if Barry figures out a way to figure out a way to think faster, he could think way faster than a normal person. And immediately after, a few moments after hearing that, Barry figures it out, and he unlocks a way for his Speed Force to get the Speed Force energy to make him think faster. And with it, he's able to see every possibility of every action, and helps him pretty much set up a scenario where he's able to he's able to set up this scenario where apparently a stack of apples falls, which stops a robber and prevents the robber's getaway car from going away and stuff. It's kind of complicated to explain. I don't really have it written down. I should have, but basically now Barry isn't just the fastest runner alive, he's now the fastest thinker. That might come in handy, but it might potentially damage Barry. Potentially, though. Meanwhile, back to the whole Manuel thing. When Manuel's clones activate the machine that he was hooked up to, it causes a blackout in Central City, and it causes a plane to get ready to crash into the city. And right when Flash notices this, he's right under the plane. He's just like, "Oh hell!" And that's where the issue leaves. Okay, not really caring too much about the clone story, but I am more interested about Barry's thinking powers now. Thinking powers, that sounds lame. Speed thinking, there we go, speed thinking. The speed thinking, though, it does sound pretty awesome, but in theory, it could be terrible, because if it allows Barry to see every action possible, then it could potentially drive him insane. Just saying, it's just a theory of mine, but I don't know, I'm going to stick around for this just for the whole speed thinking thing, not so much for the clones. Because nobody likes clones. Us and Spider-Man has learned well. Superman, number 2. After getting intel from the military about the fire creature he fought last issue, Superman is attacked by some weird green lizard thing that he cannot see or hear. Everyone else can, but he can't. So that makes it difficult for him to fight it until he figures out that thanks to the Daily Planet recording and broadcasting everything on TV and streaming it online, he's able to use TV monitors and computer screens as sort of his eyes, and he's able to gain the upper hand against the creature. And right when he's about to defeat it, right when he's about to asks the creature where did you come from, what do you want here, the creature starts speaking the weird language that the fire creature spoke of last issue, and the only word that Superman is able to recognize is Krypton, right? And it says that right before it fades, mysteriously vanishes. That's what happens. It mysteriously vanishes. And while Superman is making a recording of his little adventure in this forest of solitude, he gets a call from Lois as Clark, with pretty much Lois asking Clark what's wrong because he's been moody lately, and if there's anything she can do to help. And clearly this has something to do with their whole relationship, because as Clark Kent, Clark's just been feeling really depressed or something around Lois. I mean, it seems like he wants to date her, but for some reason he just can't. I'm not entirely clear about that. I mean, why? Yeah, granted Lois is with someone else. Maybe that's why he's kind of depressed about that, and he can't really tell her about it. But the Superman story about this, with this creature though, I like it way better than the fire creature, because it was a thing that Superman couldn't see or hear, and he had to figure out some way to fight it. Fortunately, the Daily Planet was there to save him. And I don't know, I just liked the whole thing about him fighting something that he can't see or hear, and having to use TVs and stuff to fight it. I mean, that was pretty cool, and I liked that whole story of the issue. Pretty impressive. And one more thing, Dark Avenger pointed this out in his review of Superman number 1. There are a lot of words. There's a lot of internal monologuing by Superman in this. I mean, in the first issue, it was told from the perspective of Clark Kent writing an article. In this issue, it's told from Superman's point of view as he's making the recording to the Fortress of Solitude. I mean, George Perez wrote this, but it feels like he's kind of having Superman narrate every action when we can see it in every panel, which it feels kind of unnecessary. I mean, the whole narrating every action. But yeah, Superman, I'm still gonna get it. Until action catches up in maybe the modern into the present. I might just keep reading this just so I can get an idea about Superman in the DC universe at the present rather than in the past. Alright, Teen Titans number 2. Introducing the new character, Skidder. After spending a night, Wonder Girl basically lets Red Robin spend the night at her house, and the next morning, Tim hears about this other superhuman teenager called Skidder, and he goes on a search for her. And when he finally thinks he's found her, Tim runs into two Nowhere agents that apparently have the ability to teleport using each other's bodies. It sounds like a weird power, I know, but it's kind of useful because they're able to sort of go at it with Red Robin. And, well, the agents basically fight Red Robin until apparently there's also a third one who's their third brother, finds Skidder, and Skidder basically doesn't necessarily kill them, but she basically knocks them all three out. Then when Red Robin tries to approach Skidder, she kind of attacks instantly and like just it's mostly instinct rather in self-defense rather than hate or anything. And right when she's about to attack, Wonder Girl shows up and knocks Skidder unconsciously. And right after she does this, Wonder Girl tells Red Robin that they're even. They're even. Don't contact her anymore. She doesn't want any part of what Red Robin's planning. And so basically, Red Robin's left with Skidder, wondering what's next. But that's not where the story ends. We also have two more side stories. First of all, Templar, the guy from Nowhere, Templar, creepy dude with the glasses and coat, is making Superboy watch and study footage of Wonder Girl fighting so that he can send Superboy to capture Wonder Girl. And Kid Flash has been captured by Nowhere as well in some sort of facility. And fortunately, though, Kid Flash is able to escape. And as he's running out there, he looks into one cell and he notices the cell of a girl named Solstice. And so that's where the issue ends. Teen Titans number 2. Well, apparently we're getting into the introduction of the new characters of the new Titans. Still, not a lot of action from Superboy in this book, but then again, I think that's because you have to read the Superboy book. Although the scene with Superboy does kind of disappoint me for the series because I figured in issue 2 Superboy would leave Nowhere after that, but now apparently it looks like he's gone back. Not sure, I could be wrong. Anyways, Teen Titans number 2, it's not that bad, but it's really more of an introduction to it's an introduction to this new character Skidder, which it does a nice job, and sort of a brief introduction to the other new character Solstice. Right, time for my last comic. Aquaman number 2. What happens here is the Trench, which are these things, attack a fishing boat and head for shore. Then, while Aquaman and Mara are enjoying a nice quiet evening at home, a cop comes to their door and says that there's been a murder at the docks and was wondering if they could help. So he takes them to the docks, and Aquaman tries to communicate with maybe the fish, sort of try to communicate with the sea life and figure out what happened, but there's no sea life at all. He does his old, woo, woo, boop, boop. I just looked stupid. Thing, and there's no response at all. Nothing. No fish. Nada. But right when Aquaman says this, some of the workers find some sort of cocoon on the dock, and then Aquaman suddenly senses something from one of the boats. And at that moment, the Trench emerge from the boat and attack. Fortunately, Aquaman and Mara are able to hold them off, but the main leader of the Trench grabs Aquaman's trident, throws it aside, then sprays Aquaman with some purple slime, and then says, and I quote, "This food comes home to the Trench," unquote. So, alright. My plan that's where the issue ended. My theory, next issue, Aquaman is going to be taken to the home of where the Trench come from. Basically, for me, the Trench just feel like they're just hungry. That's all. They're animal. They feel like, to me, they feel animalistic. They just want to eat people. That's all. And well, Aquaman number 2. I don't know. Wasn't exactly. It's got a lot of action, which is good, but it didn't quite excite me as the first issue. I mean, there is some teasing, a little bit of, teasing going on with Aquaman, how some of them don't take him or Mera seriously, but it's only briefly mentioned. I mean, this issue was mostly just about leading Aquaman to the Trench, that's all. So, but it's still good, and, I mean, if you like the first issue, you'll probably like this. And I'm still going to stick around because I like Jeff Johns, and he's really making me start to like Aquaman now. Right. Well, that's all. Final thoughts. Aquaman number 2. Not as exciting as the first issue, but still a fun read. I'd recommend getting it. Teen Titans number 2. Introduction to the new character. In case you were wondering about who the new characters were, I'd say get this one as well as the next issue just to give you an idea about who the new characters are. Superman number 2, lots of monologuing, way better fight than. Still enjoyed the idea of Superman fighting an enemy that he's the only one who can't see or hear. That was an interesting fight. I'd recommend getting it. Flash number 2. Get this more or less for the whole speed thinking story rather than the clones. Green Lantern, New Guardians. Things are finally picking up in this issue. If you haven't read this series yet, I would recommend reading number 1. Then immediately after, read number 2. Feels more like the plot's moving along there. And Amazing Spider-Man 672. Spider Island ends. This was an awesome series. I really hope Jeff Johns can continue making more awesome Spider-Man stories. Wolverine and the X-Men number 1. Great introduction to Wolverine's school side of the X-Men post-schism. Gives you a tour of the new school. It's an interesting issue. I'd say if you're a Wolverine fan, I would definitely say pick this up. Incredible Hulk number 1. Gives you an idea about what Hulk and Banner have been up to since their separation. Doesn't explain how it happened though. Still, if you're a Hulk fan, get it. Avengers Academy number 20. If you've been following this since the start of this story arc or since the start of Avengers Academy, I would recommend reading it. Newcomers, wait till next issue. And finally, FF number 11. Filler. This has been filler until Fantastic Four number 600. If that's not good, I'm dropping this. Okay, those are all my comic reviews for this week. Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.